Already the nuclear argument seems to be reversing now and running in the favour of the coalition. There's a poll that has come out which shows that even in the teal seats, people are turning towards the nuclear idea. And of course they would, because the teal seats were all predicated on pretty wealthy people who believe in the climate cult idea, but who want to see us get to net zero. The quickest way, as any intelligent person realises who knows basic science, is the quickest way to get to net zero is to have a source of reliable baseload power that we can use forever, and which we have an abundance of, and that is nuclear power in Australia. But what's interesting, Rita, is you see in the teal seats the figures are changing and moving towards nuclear, but still the Albanese government is pushing this ridiculous scare campaign.
Well, of course they are, because they have gone down the renewables road very heavily, and there's a lot of people who have invested a great deal of money expecting those taxpayer subsidies and guarantees. There's so much market intervention in the renewables sector. It is so, to me, rotten, because you're not letting the market decide. If this was actually the cheapest form of energy, if it made sense, if it was sustainable long-term, provided baseload power that a first world economy needs, then you wouldn't need these taxpayer subsidies to bolster it up. So, of course, they're terrified of this. They've put everything into the renewables basket. And as we've discussed, if you've got nuclear reactors and you've got reliable, cheap, clean energy, why do you need to be polluting the countryside?
Destroying the countryside.
With windmills and solar
transmission
farms.
lines. Killing the whales and doing all that stuff.
It really corrupts that entire process of saying we're going to have this transfer to renewables. Why would you do that if you've got nuclear as an option and you're sitting on the world's biggest reserves of uranium,
Let's have a listen to Peter Dutton yesterday talking about it.
A choice between Labor's reckless renewables-only policy that will see the energy bills of Australians soar even more than what people have already experienced, or the Coalition's plan for cheaper, cleaner and consistent energy, which includes Australia becoming a nuclear-powered nation. A visionary policy unlike any put forward by a political party this century.
The only argument, James, that I would put forward for Albo going earlier to the polls is because the longer the nuclear debate runs, it's just like The Voice. The more and more people start to go, oh, actually, this looks quite good, this nuclear thing. I'm going to go the nuclear route. That would be my argument.
I'm so glad that you said that. You are absolutely spot on. What is happening right now is The Voice 2.0. There are so many similarities to this. You know, you can see it in the way the polls started out on this. You know, people, I'm not so sure about nuclear and so on, but just relentlessly prosecuting the case, you know, in the same way that you said, and the Dutton and the Coalition and Advance all said this Voice thing is ultimately destructive for Australia and it will make life in Australia worse. The same thing goes for Chris Bowen's renewables plan. Now, the tricky political thing for Dutton is that the best way through the polls is to say, we're going to do nuclear and renewables, because if you start to turn it into a fight between those two, Labor starts to get an upper hand. So the key for Dutton is to say nuclear complements renewables and complements gas and complements this suite of energy policies. That's how he gets it over the line. And if the energy bills go up again, energy bills are going to keep going up. You know, if renewables really were the cheapest form of energy, why is it that our power bills keep going up? Right there, we know this. And we know that the CSIRO, through their Gen Cost report, we know that all of the assumptions that they made that went into that wound up making it look very much like renewables were cheap. We know our lived experience, to use a phrase the left loves, doesn't, you know, agree with that. And so that's the challenge, I think. This becomes Voice 2.0 for Peter Dutton, and renewables are now the big idea that they had after The Voice lost, and they're going to lose this one too, I reckon.
Absolutely.